This week we're talking about making your dash count. And yesterday we explained when we're talking about that dash, if you imagine looking at a tombstone and it says born, and then it has the date of that person's death, and that little dash in the middle represents that person's life. And what does that dash represent in terms of the quality of one's life? What does your life say about you and about your relationship toward God? Welcome to this, your daily 180 Bible study. I mentioned yesterday that Solomon, when given the opportunity to ask God for anything that he wanted, he asked for an understanding heart. At some point later in his life, Solomon went on a search for meaning and purpose in his life. And he began his book on purpose and meaning with these words, meaningless, meaningless, or the New King James says, vanity of vanities, says the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Or in other words, meaningless, meaningless. All of life is meaningless. How is it that Solomon could be so negative? And it is a negative book until you get to the end, because of this next key phrase. What profit has a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? What does he mean by that idea of under the sun? The idea of living life under the sun is the only perspective you have is what you see here under the sun. You have no heavenward perspective. You have no heavenward values. You see, the reality is if you just live life based upon the values that are around you and you just evaluate things based on what you see, this life doesn't have much to offer. Because the reality is there's a lot of injustice in this life. There's a lot of situations that can't be explained. Why does a 16-year-old boy get cancer? Why does a young mother lose her child? Well, the reality is some of those things we just can't answer. But when you realize the brevity of life and eternity that is to come, it helps us look at things differently and helps us understand, no, there is meaning to life, but we must include God and keep God at the core of everything. Join us again tomorrow.